So here today, talking with Marc LaBelle and John Notto from Dirty Honey, one of my favorite new rock and roll bands out there. They're out here this summer as a support act with the Black Crowes 30th anniversary Shake Your Moneymaker tour. I thought I'd start off with guys, on the headlining Dirty Honey shows earlier this year in Pepperdine, you guys are doing, you know, not all, but a lot of indoor places, indoor venues. What's different for you guys about performing on a lot of the Crow shows or amphitheaters? What's different, whether it's the sound, the vibe off the crowd, just the freaking summer heat? What's different about amphitheater shows for you?
Well, the last two things you said, the vibe off the crowd and the heat. We're walking out to people who price, I don't know what the percentage is of people that haven't heard of us, but I'd say it's greater than the people who have pretty much every show. So what's different is we have to win them over. Fortunately, we have an hour to do that, and that gives us a better chance. And we've been doing it pretty successfully. The other thing you said, the heat has been crazy. And since I think all but one venue is outdoors, we have to deal with the heat every night. And most of my style is jackets. So it's been hard to look like I was dressed up for the show and also not be crazy sweaty.
Yeah, and all these asshole amphitheater designers decided to point the stage directly in the direction of the setting sun. So the last hour of sunset, you're just dying. But the other thing is just the lack of a sound check is a big adjustment.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. A big adjustment. Yeah, we don't really get a sound check. We kind of did in the first week just to make sure that it worked. But the reality is, since this is a touring show where the audio is coming with us, the sound guys are coming with us, everything's all of the audio state of the art and can remember our settings. I hate to give it to them, but they are right. We don't really need it. We get it. We get up there and I'm like, well, it sounds like it did before, but we don't get to gel. We don't get to warm up. So
you don't get to write on, a lot of writing happens usually at sound check, and, that's definitely a hole in the whole experience right now. But other than that, it's honestly, it's been awesome. The show's been great. The Crows have been great to us. The audiences for the most part have been really fun. And we've been playing pretty well too. So it's all been good.
So I've seen Dirty Honey twice. Saw you, I think, at 2019 or 2020 at Sidetracks Music Hall in Huntsville. Then saw you a few weeks ago at outdoor venue here in Huntsville called Shag Nasty's, a little bigger place. You were good the first time. You were really good the second time. Is there any talk or plans yet for a Dirty Honey live album? Because I think, the mix of the EP and the LP tracks on a live thing might be something I think fans of the band would dig and possibly might open, to new fans too.
I would love to do one. That's something I remember just always diving in deepest to the live albums, whether it's AC/DC, Aerosmith, the Stones, Zeppelin. That was always the thing for me. Even Van Halen's Right Here, Right Now record.
It was always
I gravitated to. Yeah, they were always the best.
So back to this Crows tour you guys are on right now, winning the crowd over. You guys, this isn't the first legendary band you guys have toured with. GNR, The Who, supported Slash. What's the key to winning a crowd over? And on this Crows tour that you found, or in your experience, and on this Crows tour, what's a song or two that you notice by this time, end of that song, they're starting to get more into it? Whether it's, some of the signature tracks like When I'm Gone, Rolling Sevens, California Dreamin', a favorite of mine, Another Last Time, or maybe something outside of that. So those two things, if you all would speak to that, please.
We actually made an adjustment after the first show on this run. We didn't do a cover, and we actually put it in the second night, and noticed pretty immediately, like, it's just something that for the people that don't know you, it's something for them to hook into you with if they resonate, you know, if they enjoy your version of whatever tune it is. We do an Aerosmith tune. Sometimes we do an AC/DC one, but from that moment on, the crowd's always like, yeah, we like these guys.
It almost sealed the deal as far as it's like the choicest placement of a cover where we put it. We put it like fourth and or third. We kind of hit them over the head with our heavier songs and then just play this song right from the 70s, which I think just falls right in line. And yeah, it's a lot easier after that. It's pretty funny.
We just talked about AC/DC and Aerosmith, amazing bands, 2 guitar bands. Dirty Honey, 1 guitar band. What's the key to getting that right in a live context? Because man, you know, being honest with you, you kill it, and I've really enjoyed when I've seen you play live, especially this last time.
That's something I always worked on from sort of the beginning of me playing guitar, and I think it came from this comes full circle, live albums, particularly Jimmy Page. I always thought he on the ones that released where he wasn't so sloppy, but he has sort of this perfect way of sort of brush stroking the guitar. And I also noticed that he would choose the parts that he could flow into and out of that were important and leave the other ones out, because he did overlaying, you know. And that really influenced me as a kid. I just was like, wow, I hear what he's doing. Like he's picking and choosing what works for live so that it always sounds full. And then there's a way of soloing where you don't, I guess for lack of a better term, being a little sloppy is kind of key, but like you kind of rake the strings. There's all these things you do to like make it seem like a big thing instead of getting right down to the single note and it's totally clean and there's no thing. And the other side of that coin is in the studio when when we compile parts, I do kind of tailor my solos knowing that I'm going to have to get back to, you know, a power chord. So there aren't a lot of solos, for example, that end with me like holding a high note as like the chorus comes back in, for example, because I don't want people to get attached to that and then I can never do it live, you know? So it's sort of a little bit of like knowing what I'm going to be up against live when we're doing the album. You know, so, and also that it's careful when we overdub a second guitar, because there are second guitars on the record. We just make sure it's not such a signature part that you'll miss it, you know, like really badly. Or do like counterpart stuff where it's like, oh, once it's missing the second guitar, you're screwed. So it's just kind of all of those things together. I think my early influence and just knowing what I'm going to have to do.
So, Mark, a thing that is real cool about your vocals is you have range, you have soul, and grit. So a lot of times vocalists have one of those, or maybe 2 of them, but you have all 3. And I'm curious, in a live setting, you know, like I've seen you get on top of speakers, I've seen you, you know, embellish things a little bit, but how do you know how much to stick to the melody in a live context into the studio performance, and how much to give the fans a thing where it feels like it's in the moment there and nailing all of that?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I try and stay pretty loyal to the recording. We have little like live arrangement adjustments that we do for certain songs that, you know, are variations. But yeah, it's more than anything, it's just what I'm feeling in the moment. And, you know, it's that age old thing. The more the crowd gives you, the more you give the crowd. So yeah, the better the crowd, the better I'll be, the better the experience will be as a whole for everybody too. It's that totally a communal atmosphere that, you know, we're all looking to build to something great together. But yeah, it's totally spontaneous. There's no rhyme or reason for me either. And all the guys are kind of that way with their solos. I don't think really anybody knows exactly what they're doing when they do some sort of solo. So
yeah, there's always a spot, like if on the record where I kind of get into something less melodic, and it's on the record that way, that's usually a moment where I can change it up a little.
Mm.
You know, where there's like a real melody in the solo. I don't really want to abandon that in live, you know, and you know, because it's people are expecting it, you know. But there's always like little spots where maybe it's just bluesy stuff. That's a spot live where you get to go, well, maybe I'll do some different bluesy stuff. As long as I get to point B, you know, kind of thing.
Just for a little kind of question on the band, the thing I love rock bands. I love good songs, singing, guitar playing, grooves. But just like a random thing I love is band logos. And Dirty Honey has a really cool band logo. And from my understanding, you guys, right from early on, were moving a lot of merch, and that has something to do with having a cool logo. Any interesting story about where that logo came from or how it came together? Or maybe you almost did another one that, I don't know.
The quick version is there's an artist out of New York that designed both the B and the lips logo for us. I had this sort of like, originally it was like a guitar. It was like a honey stick. It was a guitar neck. No, it was a guitar, but the neck was like a honey stick dripping like with honey. And it just said Dirty Honey. And then we came across like the lips and the B from this artist in New York that our manager introduced us to. And our manager was like, it's got to be the B. It's got to be the B. And we were all like, you're fucking crazy. The lips is it. That's it. Like, we just got so lucky with this thing. And he fortunately came around.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's good to know. It's good to know that he listens every once in a while.
So this is what we're talking about. And a cool thing about it too is it's a lips logo, but it doesn't feel like you've copy and pasted the Rolling Stones, which is cool.
Yeah, theirs is more of a tongue is like the thing to me than lips or like a whole mouth.
I know that Marc, you're a longtime Crows fan. You've seen them before. You flew up to one of those early reunion shows in New York. What's something you appreciate about them more after seeing them live? I'm sure from the side of the stage or whatever for a few shows. What's something more you appreciate about them more now or realize differently now? And John, that same question to you, even if you are maybe newer to the band or whatever, just stuff you guys appreciate more about. Because Chris and Rich Robinson, they are really special in the way they do rock and roll that swings.
Yeah, I think firstly, like John and I definitely bonded over this band very early. We both have somewhat deep vocabulary and or knowledge of their history musically, and couple things that come to mind though. I think Chris is genuinely one of the best rock and roll performers and singers out there, one of the best frontmen ever to do it. And Rich, two things about Rich: he's got amazing guitar tones, amazing guitar collections. He's a master riff writer, similar to like Keith Richards or Joe Perry or Jimmy Page. And I really appreciate his lack of ego and the selflessness to hand over the solos to a guitar player like Isaiah Mitchell or Mark Ford or whoever, throughout their history. I don't think, I can tell you right now, Notto would never let that happen. Ever.
Yeah.
Would you, John?
No way.
No, he's joking, but he would not let that happen.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know if Rich is a soloist in his nature, even. Like, he seems like he's right where he wants to be, which is, that's cool. I don't know if a lot of those, side note, I'm not sure many of those guitarists exist anymore. I don't think everyone I know can solo and wants to solo, like people are like, hey, would Dirty Honey ever be a 2-guitar band? I'm like, yeah, if the other guy didn't want to solo. But it's not it's a lot of it is I guess I like Leonard Skinner, and every one of them could solo. I don't know. It's cool when each person has their own kind of lane in the band, though. I feel like.
And I think
you
the
know.
hardest thing to do as a rock and roll guitarist is to write an amazing riff. It's not.
Yeah, it's like
There's a lot. Well, I don't know. There's a lot fewer solos, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think
yeah.
writing those riffs, some of those riffs that he's come up with are just crazy. I mean, I can't point to a Stones solo that I can really put my finger on or would even want to, but there's just boatloads of great riffs that inspire great songs. And Zeppelin was the same way. They kind of got by without like lyrical or melodic hooks. They just got by on like riff hooks. The riff to Heartbreaker is all you need if you have the riff to Heartbreaker.
What's something random that you guys have been listening to lately, like outside kind of the bluesy classic rock vibe, like something that people might be surprised that you guys listen to a little bit?
I've been listening to Billie Eilish lately. I think once I saw the videos, I really saw the completeness of her as an artist. And I was pretty, like, my girl and I sat and watched like all the videos one night, and we were like, wow, just the music with the video. It's a bit like a Radiohead vibe. Doesn't sound anything like that, but where it's like a definite mood. Like that's a thing. It wouldn't be every day, all day, but there's a few songs that I can't stop listening to. That's kind of certainly out to left for us, maybe me.
There's this one Radiohead song. I could not figure out what it was. I was in like a vintage shop or something, and I had this melody stuck in my head, and I literally asked everybody I knew that was a Radiohead fan if they remembered this melody, and it happened. I found it on my own, ironically, but it's this tune just from like, I don't know, one of the early Radiohead records that's been stuck in me for a while. But man, I'm not above, like, I'll check out, I go back every now and then and listen to Mutt Lange's collaboration with Shania Twain or something. I'm definitely not above like country or old soul music. One of my favorite records is Sam Cooke live from the Copacabana. Dude, I mean, the list goes on for me. I think I'm definitely, maybe John too has a pretty wide scope of stuff that he listens to. But we both definitely have our own variations with that.
I've enjoyed the clips I've seen so far and been reading the reviews of this tour. I'm not aware of you guys sitting in with the Crows or Chris and Rich sitting in with you, but they've done a little bit of that in the past with some other acts I've toured with. Is there a song that you would love to sit in if offered the chance with the Crows? And second to that, if you got the chance for Chris or Rich to sit in on a Dirty Honey song, what would be a really cool song you think for them to jam with you guys?
Well, we already know the answer to that one. The one I'd like to sit in with them the most is either Sometimes Salvation or Kicking My Heart Around.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sometimes Salvation. And I think it'd be cool if like most of their band came up and played Another Last Time with us.
Wrapping up here, last question. You're playing the Forum in your home stomping grounds, which is like a rock mecca of arena badassery. Your thoughts going into that, or that's got to be kind of pretty big journey getting to the Forum, man.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. We're obviously very humbled and excited, and all the emotions that come with playing an iconic venue like that. That one comes to mind. Red Rocks comes to mind. But yeah, the Forum, that was the first show I think John and I ever went to together, was Aerosmith at the Forum.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
So we're very excited. It's going to be great. I wish the circumstances were a little different with COVID restrictions and stuff, but regardless, I think people will have a really good time. There's no doubt. They put on a great show. We put on a great show. It's a great night of rock and roll, and to do it in our hometown with a band that we both really love is pretty special.
Well, I'm psyched about seeing you guys in the Birmingham show at Oak Mountain Amphitheater. I think a lot of other people are too. So, guys, thanks for the conversation. Thanks for the music, and see you out there on the road. And safe travels, guys.
We'll see you in
Mark.
Birmingham.
John, see y'all.
Thanks, Matt. Also, cool hat.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys.